So you was getting banged on the Cacao to go out to these normal raves.
I totally was,
it's bang on the Cacao.
That's what we were serving up at your facilitator training recently.
Bang tidy, bro.
Awareness of cacao, not just cacao, but like beautiful, beautiful ceremonial grade cacao, pure goodness, reaching out to the masses, you know, like.
James was the person who said, it's your fault. All this success is your fault because you said.
Training was like so exposing. You and Paulina facilitated such an intentional journey in the sense of, yes, you did put us in uncomfortable situations. Well, I thought I'd never really held a space before or supported people.
Hi guys, welcome to the Full Power Podcast. We have got an amazing human being as a guest on our show today. He's part of the Full Power tribe. He's been part of it since it started, since its first beginning, since it was a seed. He has been part of what we are doing. It's been amazing to see his journey, the growth that he's making in life, all the things that he's planting seeds and creating. And I can't wait for him to tell you all about everything that he's doing and all his magnificence. He's a vegan chef. He's got a sober rave called Ignite, which puts on dances all over the country now, and he's keeping expanding. He's got a catering business called Invigorate, which is getting high energy, nutritional, vegan food into people's bodies, and everybody is just like, oh my God, this is the way to win me over to become vegan, because this is tasty shit. If I could give this my husband, we could turn him. So yeah, enjoy the show. James Baylis coming at you like Cleopatra. Full power. Okay, James, now the camera's rolling and everything's gone. Can you just go totally tense for us and freeze up?
I'm already doing it.
Okay. Welcome to the Full Power Podcast, bro.
Full power. Thank you,
It's
man.
amazing to have you on the show, and just to have like somebody again on the show who's been a pivotal part of the Full Power Cacao movement, but also to see your journey and talk about your growth over the last few years, everything you've been through, everything that you are now like presenting to the world, and all the power that you're stepping into that's been there for a while, and now I really feel like you're stepping into it. So congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you, man. That's a beautiful intro. Very, very honoured to be here.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you.
Beautiful. And so the first time we met, let's go talk us about that. The first time you came across what we do. When was it?
Oh yeah, so this was probably around 3 years ago, I'm feeling. Give or take, you know. I think it was in a sweaty warehouse somewhere. I mean, this story could go many places, but I'm going to go to the truth.
In a store cupboard?
It was a big store cupboard, I feel. With chairs and a pretty smelly carpet, but nevertheless. Yeah, it was a sort of like this conscious event where... you know, like the hosts were providing lots of different workshops on self-empowerment, self-improvement, I suppose, and there was a spiritual lens on it. And this...
How did you end up going there? What was the reason you was there?
Good question. So I was going to sort of come on to this, which is that it was 2020. That was a big kick for me to dive really into myself, really. And obviously, a lot of us... Well, we were. It was perceived that we didn't have a choice as such in terms of, you know, just locking ourselves away indoors and what have you.
Yeah.
In hindsight, that was a massive blessing for me, a huge gift for me and many others. Actually, I've had this discussion with so many other people around the shenanigans that unfolded around the Locky D's, I like to call them. I like not to give it much energy, to be honest with you. Although, it was. As I say, it was about 3 years ago, so it's 2021. So. All of that stuff was going on for about a year, and it was just at the point at which I was like, right, I've sat with lots of shit now for a good year, and you know, like I had to really have some super vulnerable conversations with myself through that time to be like, what's actually been going on in my life? Like, what have I actually been doing? And of course, over time, like I started to sort of unwind it and unpeel and like start to make sense of stuff in a way, and starting to realise how much I sort of created my own suffering in a way, in terms of my own blockages and like the way that I was showing up in the world, basically. So
what was this like introspection based on? Was there like a pivotal moment, or was there a book, or was there some sort of like movement towards self-development? What started the ball rolling on like that sort of, that deep inner work? How did that come about?
That's a solid question, which is something I've been asking myself actually a lot over the last few months. I've asked myself sort of over the last couple of years, and I feel like it's become a little bit clearer, you know, the more I've asked myself. But just before 2020, I was in a really, really toxic relationship. At the time, I was like, it's a total narcissistic relationship from the other person. Of course, in hindsight, I've come to realise, you know what, I did some things that were probably similar, you know.
And as Esther Hicks would say, vibrational match.
Yeah, vibrational match, yeah. Touche. Which I do agree with, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that threw me into the abyss, is what I would call it. Really the abyss. And like when 2020 happened, and as I mentioned, we were sort of chucked into this situation where you've got to sit with yourself. Ah,
right, okay, yeah.
Again, like I say, it was such a gift, but at the time it was torture. Like I had no distractions pretty much, and like I had to sit with everything that had happened through that time. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with like the narcissistic cycle, if you will, but part of it is like a total sort of ripping away of your identity, I suppose you could say. So like by this time, by like the Lockheed Dean round one I was like, I have no idea who I am anyway, because of all of this stuff that was that happened before. Yeah. In the lead up to it, of course, looking back, like that totally happened at the perfect time for me, that situation. So I'm super grateful for it. But yeah, because I felt like a bit of an empty shell. Yeah. At the time, that was very, very painful, to be honest with you, because I was like, as I say, I felt very disassociated. Again, as I mentioned, I felt like I had no identity whatsoever. So that in a way sort of provided me with space to rebuild, you know, to find myself, as cliche as it sounds. Like that really did happen. So that's what sent me on that sort of journey of like real inner standing, I would call it.
And so how did you find out about the event in Manchester? Because obviously you're in Leeds, and these events were getting put on in Manchester. How did you come across it and end up coming onto your path?
To be honest, like that time is quite a blur. I just recall that time being a time where, for the first time really, I feel, from recollection, I was in total curiosity mode. Curiosity mode in terms of like what's actually out there. Now that I've done a little bit of self-awareness work, and like I've started, and I will continue to say started, because it's such an ongoing journey, as you know, as we've spoken about many times off here. So yeah, that really inspired me to see what's out there, like I say. So I honestly just followed my feet. I was on a exploration anyway, in terms of finding little pockets of people here and there where at the time, as you probably know, there were certain groups of people that were really quite ostracised for having views, because they were just questioning authority, you know, and questioning things which made absolutely no logical sense to this very day. Yep. And so, yeah, like that was a real inspiration for me to be like, it can't just be me, you know. It really can't. So yeah, like I just started exploring, and then
ended up in a warehouse in Cheetham Hill.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And like you say, man, like that I couldn't really find anything that was going on in my hometown in Leeds. So I can't really recall what guided me to Manchester. But that certainly became a really strong sort of foundation for me from that point. So yeah, I just ended up finding my way to that event, and it was a huge mind-expanding, soul-expanding, heart-opening day for me. That, of course, that was my first ever experience of ceremonial cacao, which I'm sure you will come on to in a moment. So
go on to it, man.
Yeah, so
how was that?
I'm still figuring that out, to be honest with you. So I know we'll probably come on to my sort of passion for food and stuff. Cacao, when I saw Cacao on the sort of schedule, I was like, curious.
Yeah.
Obviously,
you hadn't heard of cacao ceremonies before that, then? Did you
I don't
heard of
think
it?
I had.
Okay.
No, I don't think I had, and I wasn't really aware of the spiritual benefits of it, I suppose you could say. I knew, of course, it was good for the heart, but like there was just a huge unknown in a positive way where I was like, I have no idea what this is going to be. However, I feel so drawn to go right into it, which again, I know a lot of people will relate to that sort of, just that feeling like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I've got to go, you know? So that's what happened. Went into this room with you and Paul, who was a mutual friend of ours.
It's only a small room, wasn't it? But it's probably about 50 people in there. It was rammed.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for, man. Like, just the very moment I stepped into that room, I was like, this is what sort of my heart's been calling for. So,
if you want to start your cacao journey today, head over to www.fullpowercacao.com, and to get 11% off your first order, use the code FULLPOWER2012 at checkout and start to feel that full power vibration today. Now, back to the podcast. Enjoy.
I think that might have been the first time I saw a harmonium as well, in the flesh, if you will. Not that I've been looking up pictures on Google or anything for harmoniums ever, but nevertheless, that alone was just like, it just added to the curiosity. And then at the time, I felt like you and Paul looked very, very similar. Just thought I'd add some flavour to the story there. Not that it adds any sort of substance, but nevertheless.
His hair was a bit longer than mine, though.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and his beard was, I think, yeah.
It was, for sure. I agree with that. So, yeah, and then up to that point, I'd been doing a bit of mindfulness and what have you, you know, like... I did find a couple of other modalities before I reached the cacao ceremony, which...
So you was already kind of on a spiritual path. You was exploring.
Exploring for sure, yeah. I'll rewind a little bit, you know, like in terms of, again, when it came to that first Lucky D.
Sounds like a Happy Meal.
Wasn't very tasty, to be honest.
Mine was. I loved it, man. It's so good.
Depends on perspective, yeah.
That was the freest I've ever been.
Again, in hindsight, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So I stumbled across, I would say, kundalini yoga. So I'd never done yoga before. Again, I've been aware of it.
Kundalini.
Straight into kundalini, yeah. And I did a little bit of research because I am like the kind of guy that would most definitely practice discernment, you know, and I do feel it's important to practice the pause, you know. Sometimes it's better to just go straight into stuff, but with that I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to go into. So you know, like when I researched it a bit, I was like, this sounds like something I'd like to explore. So as you say, went straight into that. And again, in hindsight, I do feel like that triggered I was going to say I feel like it triggered a spiritual awakening, although I feel like that's been a subtle thing that has happened over many years before that, perhaps. So, but that was a big catalyst. Yeah, almost a fly kick in the left cheek, I would say.
Left cheek, okay. Right. Not the testicles.
That as well. So that was so the left leg
from behind.
One leg with this cheek, and then behind.
Perfect. Which is we've had this question on the show before. Which is your favourite cheek of yours? You've got 4.
All of them.
Okay, you're not going to ostracise any.
No, I'm not going to discriminate.
Okay. He loves all his cheeks, but guys.
Indeed.
Thank you.
That's a nice segue.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Okay, this is a test of my focus skills here. So coming back, so the Kundalini yoga, so that really just opened me up. As I'm sure you're very aware of the sort of technology behind it and the power behind it. So that was something that I wasn't quite prepared for, I suppose. Although again, like mega grateful for it to just really unblock or start to unblock and unpick so much energy that was stored within me. And that was the first time I probably became really self-aware of like the energetic relationship, I suppose, that we have in our system. So Yeah, man. Like I say, that was sort of a big catalyst that guided me to that event. Mm-hmm. So I had a bit of an awareness of like, you know, energy and what have you.
Yoga.
And yoga. Yeah, on a basic level, I suppose you could say. So yeah, I go into this Cacao ceremony, of course. I can't recall exactly what happened, but I just remember you played a bit of harmonium with Paul. He might have been on guitar. Mm-hmm. Was he? Can you recall?
I think so, yeah. I think it might have been a bit of interchange.
Yeah, fair. Well, again, as you know, I've got a strong passion for music, so again, that just drew me in a little bit further. And then, as I mentioned, I've done a bit of mindfulness before, but you just guided everyone through this meditation. I think we had the Cacao first, and I've genuinely never experienced anything like it. It genuinely was like what I would imagine is a medicine journey, because again, as you know, as Full Power Cacao's chief of staff, do you call him?
Director.
Chief director.
Founder.
Chief founder and director of staff and products.
President.
.com.
/
Yeah, like it just sent me on a really, really gentle journey, internally, of course. I didn't know at the time that it would lead me here.
Yeah.
Although, again, it was just such a beautiful compliment to that energy of curiosity, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. From there, there's just been an unraveling, a constant, very, very gentle and subtle unraveling.
Yeah.
In my life.
Yeah. So for anyone out there who is like, upset with us for doing really well and things and being successful, it's actually all James's fault, because James was the person who said, it's your fault. All this success is your fault, because you said to me, you need to go and drag us den. And I was like, oh, I've got time. But what the fuck do you have to? I don't. Yeah, maybe whatever. And you was like, you said it again. I was like, just send me the link, because I was like, if someone sends me the link, I don't have to. I'm shit on the computer. Like, where do I go and apply? Send me the link. You sent me the link. I applied. Boom, forgot about it. Bang. And then obviously, it all happened and it all started going, and I was telling you they've been in contact, and you was getting excited. You was like, Deborah Meaden will definitely invest. Deborah's the one that'll go for it. She's got to be in. And so basically, it is your fault. Do you know what I mean? So anyone who's beefing you, let's just beef James instead of us, because it's his
please
fault.
Do that. Which camera? This one. Come at me. Everyone who's
go look for him, not us.
You know what? I'll go on.
Go on. No, go.
I was going to say, I'm really glad you brought this up, you know, man, because I was going to say, like, everyone who does have beef with that situation, like, yes, I did. I'm saying this humbly, like, I did sort of point Liam to, the Dragons Den and what have you. But ultimately, like, zooming out of that situation, like, look at the benefits that it is already having. Like, even just someone seeing it on the TV show, not even doing anything with it or doing anything about it. Like, that seed is there. And so, like, surely again, zooming out, the awareness of cacao, not just cacao, but like beautiful, beautiful ceremonial grade cacao, pure goodness, reaching out to the masses, you know, like, why is that seed not worth planting? And I do hear like the concerns around the sustainability of it and like the production and what have you. Although I do feel like this has all happened for sort of higher purposes. And I'm not saying like I've initiated that at all. Like, what I'm saying is, like, Lady Cacao was always going to find a way, I feel, you know?
Yeah, to get it out to the masses, and Keith, you know, Keith, that was his mission for Cacao. If Cacao's going to take over from coffee by 2032, it kind of has to get into the mainstream. It has to kind of get everywhere. It has to be seen on TV. It has to be advertised everywhere. It has to be planting its seeds. And, you know, that moment was the biggest moment for Cacao on the planet so far. That 15-minute segment on the BBC meant that probably 5.5 million people, maybe more, because I think 6 million people watched it. I bet you 5.5 million people had never even heard of the word cacao. Yeah? So that's 5.5 million people who've never heard of it, hear of Cacao for the first time. And then more people since then have watched it and starting to, you know, Gary Neville, who's on the sat in your seat like a few hours ago, he'd never heard of it. And it's like, oh, it's amazing, you know, and to realise the benefits and the goodness that actually you're ingesting and how it makes you feel. And, you know, it's just like, it's incredible. So I guess for myself and everyone at Full Power Cacao, which you are part of the team as well, but it's a massive thank you for like giving us that little impetus to go on the show, and thanks from all the people that is benefiting, you know, and all the other cacao companies that is benefiting, all the other spiritual practitioners that is benefiting, because loads of them have just said, oh my God, like you've welcomed this into the mainstream, and now people who didn't understand what I did understand what I do now because you was on TV. And it's like, it's all good, man. Thank you. Beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
For sure, man.
Yeah, it's very, very humbling. And so, yeah, we appreciate you. So I guess in a way, like, what did you see within what we were doing that made you think that we should be on that show?
Great question. Well, firstly, I just thought it'd be really funny to see you and Deborah Mead and have a conversation. I don't know why, but I just felt like that combination would have unfolded beautifully. I mean, it did, but not with Deborah.
No, she did want to live in my house in Withington, though. Remember?
I don't remember that, to be honest.
No,
with
yeah,
you.
she wasn't up for it. It was
That's
offered,
a
yeah. She said we're the same, me and you. I was like, oh, do you live in a house in Withington, a council house in Withington, do you? Gary was like, do you fancy it, Deborah? She's like, no. Do you have servants? No.
Wow.
So you saw, what was it that you saw in us as a business that you thought, obviously you wanted to see the interaction between myself and Deborah, but what else was did you think that it could be successful on that show?
Yeah, so there is definitely a lot more than the Deborah Mead thing. Do you know what, like on a sort of non-physical level, I will say, there was definitely just an urge. I just felt like a sort of energetic urge to be like, you know what, just message Liam and just be like, yeah, what do you think to going on Dragons then? Kind of thing. So I suppose you could call that intuition or a download perhaps, or just a message from God or the divine, whatever you would like to call them. So that was part of it. But then also, again, coming back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, I really sort of saw what I believe to be a really, really powerful glitch in the matrix, you know, as cliche as that sounds, like I really saw it at the time. And I, of course, as you know, like I work with Cacao every day. And I know the transformative benefits that it has. Of course, that combined, well, you have to combine that with your own work, of course. Like it's not, like it's a beautiful medicine, but of course you have to take action alongside, my humble opinion. So,
well, if you want to go, you are going to get the benefits, but if you want to go deeper and progress further, yeah, you do have to take the actions.
Yeah.
Practice.
Yes, that's what I was alluding to for sure. So yeah, it was sort of like that. As I mentioned, the glitch in the matrix, and you know, on a personal level, I love to see people around me just absolutely smash it. And I do feel like when we are working in harmony with each other, I'm doing this with my hands. I don't know if the camera can see.
He's doing this, guys.
I'm doing this, wherever you are.
Wherever you are in the world, do this right now.
It was a bit more flowy than that.
We're flowing. Yeah, Tai Chi.
It's a bit rigid.
Move the energy, guys. Move the energy.
Everything's extra zen now, of course. Yeah, I really do feel like, again, this sort of comes back to my own personal values around literally just helping each other and just getting that sort of spark or little nugget of guidance, which is like, oh, that could maybe like work for that person or support that person and so on. And that's the ripple effect, I suppose you could say, right? It's just that tiny act.
Little seed plant.
The seed planter, which does, you know, energetically vibrate in a beautiful way, you know, not sort of attaching onto an outcome or a benefit from it for yourself. It's just I feel like this is good for you or what have you. So there was that as well. So there was a few different layers to it. But at its simplest form, it was like I just feel like you're going to smash it.
Mm-hmm. And how did you feel when we did? Do you feel we smashed it?
Oh, next level. But I wasn't surprised at all. Because I do, not to massage your ego in any way, but I really do mean this. Like, I feel like the energy that you have anyway, as an individual and as a collective in terms of the Full Power crew.
Full Power crew.
Is just, it's magnificent, and it's like, it's just really worth sharing. And, there is this whole thing around those who are meant to receive you will receive you. So that obviously happened. I just knew that, and I'm sure you knew that no matter what the outcome was, it was going to be of the most divine, purpose, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what we went into it. Just like whatever it's going to be, it'll be. If they don't get it, it's not the time. But then I don't think Lady Cacao would have put us there if it wasn't the time. Do you know what I mean? It was the time, man. It was everything. It was the perfect timing. It was the perfect timing for me in terms of like confidence of being able to hold that space and be confident within that space. Where if I would have done that 5-6 years ago, I wouldn't have been strong and in my power as I was. I would have fucked it up. Do you know what I mean? So it was like the perfect timing for Cacao and the interest that was already in Cacao and how Cacao was already popping in our scene, just wasn't popping in the mainstream. So it's like now to have that pop, which is amazing. So yeah, we just thank you from the bottom of our hearts for that. But obviously this podcast is not fucking about Full Power Cacao. It is the Full Power podcast. But obviously like with you and what you do, I want to explore that because obviously you've worked with us, you've done the Full Power Cacao Facilitator training, you DJ at our events, you are you drum and bass DJ called Maneuver, you've DJ'd at both of the Stone Cold Sober festivals, you've DJ'd at Full Power Cacao ceremonies, events, stuff that we've been doing. I love drum and bass and I love the sets that you drop all the time. It's like my passion, and to see people that have never been into the drum and bass scene coming and dancing and getting into it, and it's like, but through a spiritual movement, it's like they weren't even in the scene. Do you know what I mean? And it's like for you and for what we're facilitating, to give people this ability to dance to this genre of music that they've never experienced, and to actually grow to love it. And your passion for drum and bass, but then also your passion for Cacao, your passion for Invigorate and your food company and what you bring as a chef, your passion for Ignite and putting on these sober raves and showing people another possibility of how you can dance, communicate, create community without the need of alcohol, which is a blessing. So them things, is there anything else I've missed? Because we're going to go into each one of them things, but is there anything else that you do that I've not included within that kind of like plug of you?
Firstly, thank you. That was an extra large plug, and I'm mega grateful for that. Yeah. Thank you for appreciating me regarding, the Full Power situation. I'm really grateful for that.
Just speaking of plugs, do you know if you live in a council house, your plug will fit in the little bit at the top. It's got a little nipple, and it just pushes in. When I found that out, Donna told me that, Nana Donna.
What do you mean the full plug?
So do you know if you live in you've got a council house, you've got a bath, like the council house bath. So the plug, that's on the little chain. Do you know the little thing? Okay. Do you know the little thing that's got the overflow in it, the little holes?
Yeah.
Well, it's got a nipple on it, and the plug's got an entrance, and it just puts on the plug. So for 40 years of my life, I've been wrapping the plug around the tap and just having it hang there. And then Donna did my cleaning one day, and I've come home, and the plug's on the fucking thing. I was like, what's that doing there? I rang her up, I was like, why is the plug on? She went, that's where they go. I was like, are you fucking joking me? I have had one of these baths my whole life. I did not know. I was like, wow. So I did an Instagram video about it. I was like, guys, have you seen? Then so it's popping and people going, I've just tried mine does it. And then someone else is like, mine doesn't do it. And then my mate Steve did a reaction video, and it's his plug. He's got a modern bath, and he picks his plug up and he just goes, doink, doink, doink. And he goes... So I get excited about stuff like that. But anyway,
and I do remember you absolutely celebrating that, probably more than you did now, which was a lot anyway.
Just like a...
It's a huge revelation, yeah. You've reminded me to try it because I've still not tried it yet.
Like my whole childhood, nobody I know did it, and we all had them baths.
Maybe you should do some journaling on it.
100%.
Definitely
All the
recommend
missed
that.
years of like snapping like the chains and shit and trying to put the things back in and putting the pliers to get the, and I could have just put it on the
It's a
thing.
struggle, man. Yeah, you got a lot of releasing.
God's just going bell end to everyone who's doing it bell end. Bell end. Look at this bell end. Oh, another one. Fucking millions of bell ends. They've got a perfect place to put the plug and they don't fucking know where it goes. It's a bit of a kind of like philosophy of life, really, because sometimes we're just doing the wrong things for donkey's years until we figure it out.
What a great segue that was. Wow.
So now is the time of the year to go a little bit inward, and we have got a deal for you. We are offering my book, Dealer to Healer, a 500-gram bag of cacao and a Palo Santo for £44. So head over to the website, click onto the little bundle that we're doing, have a cacao, cleanse your space, drop into the book, and escape into the world of my life and everything that's happened. Enjoy the journey. Big love.
I struggle to follow you, to be honest, but that's nothing to do with you. That's all me.
That's you, yeah.
May I just say, journaling is a very powerful tool. I know I was sort of like humouring it before,
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Full power.
And as Rick James would say, cocaine is a hell of a drug. You not seen that?
No, but another interesting segue.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
Let's go back to the big up that I just give you. And is there anything that I missed out that you do that you want to share? Well, we're going to go into them things, but is there anything that I missed?
So, thankfully, in a way, yes, there's one other thing. And I say thankfully because I'm just so grateful to be, co-creating and collaborating on so many epic things. So, I've got to give a massive big ups to my twin brother. Me and my brother Michael, we do our weekly drum and bass boot camp in Leeds where we live. So he's an absolutely epic PT. And yes, we look similar. And yes, we sound the same. So yeah, we do that every week. So I DJ and then he smashes out an epic workout. So yeah, that just feeds into like the overarching sort of ethos of kind of both of us, but certainly me as well. So.
And has that got a name, or is it just the drum and bass boot camp?
So it's Baylis boot camps.
Baylis
Very
boot camps.
original.
Okay.
Bit of alliteration always seems to work. So maybe you should look at Full Power's name.
Changes to Baylis Power.
I was thinking more Pull Power or something.
Pull Power.
Something like that.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like a Friday night out.
Yes, moving on.
So yeah, like. What was where was the spark of imagination to create that idea in terms of like mixing the PT with the music, with the drum and bass?
Again, this happened in the lockdowns. So it was when, of course, every gym was closed. And this was not just in the country. This was like nearly a global policy that went into place during the health crisis.
Yeah.
We're going to close all the health centres. I'm just going to pause for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do as well, we're going to keep all fast food restaurants open and takeaways.
Yeah.
And again, that was not just in the country, that was globally.
And we'll deliver legal drugs to your door.
There's that as well, yes. So yes, that it was birthed through that. Again, it was just such a beautiful blessing to have that happen because me and my brother Michael were both like, what the fuck is going on?
Let's do this.
Let's do this, yeah. So he was already PT, I was already DJing. Like I was just coming out of the partying culture, I suppose you could say.
Okay.
Like, and I used to go hard, to be honest.
And was it always, so how did the drum, when did you get the drum and bass bug? Like, when was it like drum and bass, man? Because was there a different genre of music before drum and bass dropped in for you, or was it just you found drum and bass early doors?
Oh, awesome question. And again, I've been reflecting on this because, as you know, it's such a pivotal part of my life, drum and bass. So I came across drum and bass. I think I must have been about 15, maybe 16, give or take, in high school. And at that time, so I'm 31 now. It was like, well, minus
16 years ago. That is,
16 years ago. Drum and bass wasn't really like popular as it is now. Like it has kind of gone a bit mainstream in some ways. But yeah, like I considered it then as, well, it really, really was an underground genre of music. So like that for me was one of the first memories I have anyway that I can recall of a sort of like rebellious nature, I suppose you could say, because it was like, right, there's all this going on that everyone else is doing kind of thing, but then there's this over here.
Yeah.
Just this absolutely banging music that honestly just like blew me away. I don't think it was drum and bass though, the first thing. I think it might have been a little bit of dubstep.
Okay.
Like one of Sub Focus's first ever tunes. Could This Be Real?
Yeah.
I will always treasure it because that was the gateway. That was the gateway for me to go and explore this this underground music. So then I came across drum and bass, and as long as I was in high school, like I held on to it in a way as a sort of, it was a companion. Drum and bass was a companion for me in high school because it just gave me that sort of confidence that like I had a few different views around like things just not making sense for me in school, like just the whole setup, you know. And this is a hindsight thing. Yeah. Like at the time I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm here and so is everyone else and we've got to, you know, that kind of thing.
I've got nowhere else to go.
Got nowhere else to go. So I may as well, you know, get turkey twizzlers at lunch and that. But I don't think I ever had them. I think I might have had them once and it were off someone else.
Right.
So we never really allowed them. And that's a good thing in hindsight.
I used to just have crisp butties. My mum would make me butties, corned beef and brown sauce butties, and then I'd have crisps on them as well.
What crisps?
Sometimes skips, but then other times like squares because that's crunchier. Yeah, and I'd share them with this girl called Becky Woodharper, and sometimes she'd have one of my butties, but she wouldn't touch the corned beef and brown sauce. It's like if it was ham and cheese, we'd swap.
Would you toast your bread?
No, it was just in a packed lunchbox.
What were the accompaniments?
Maybe an apple.
Okay, balance.
Yeah. And the chocolate bar, a Rocky Road caramel one. Oh, banging.
Divine.
Rocky Robin. Rocky bar.
That's caramel what we were serving up at your facilitator training recently. That whole setup.
Bang tidy, bro. So drum and bass.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you like? When did you get your first decks then? How old?
So do you know what? Like ever since I started to go clubbing and raving, I always had that keen interest in like how it was happening, how the rave was actually happening, how this DJ was spinning the absolute bangers, you know, with the blends and the transitions between tunes and just like embodying such a beautiful vibe that was just spreading out to everyone. But yeah, I didn't get my decks till. Excuse that really loud click in my mouth. It was a good click, that. It was a really good connection, wasn't it? Really good connection.
Yeah, Nick's going to love that when he's editing.
It's the Cacao, man. I must remember I'm on a podcast. Oh, do I really need to
just
remember?
Fucking
No,
don't. You don't have to remember if you just talk.
What was I saying? That was a joke. So I got my decks maybe sort of 7-ish years ago.
Okay.
And I was really blessed to have a good friend, my friend Alex Wilson, if you're watching, giving you a big up there, mate. He ran a couple of drum and bass nights, and he sort of gave me a really good few opportunities of just getting myself out there and just getting the rounds in, so to speak.
So you started doing little gigs, little sets here and there, but you're still in the party scene at this point.
Yeah. So when I say around, it was around 7 years ago, what have you. I was in sort of like my mid-20s, and I was most definitely hard in the scene at that time. So it was one of those where it was like, I got to the point where I was a little more excited about the afters rather than the actual rave. Okay. Which is, I know, quite a contradiction in contrast to what I've just been speaking to. So that was the sign for me to, step back. Although I sort of digress a little bit. I spent a good, 3 or 4 years maybe getting these awesome opportunities to play at fair few clubs in Leeds, and I had the absolute honour of supporting some epic drum and bass artists as well. So that was just really a time for me to feel into this passion and to know in myself that, like, I want to do this, and I don't know how long I want to do it for, but I know that something happens when I'm behind the decks. Yeah. And I still
you're in your fucking bliss, man.
Oh, like, totally my bliss. It's a good way to put it, Totally, yeah. Like, again, I've been feeling into this recently around like the whole concept of channeling, you know, receiving messages from the divine or God, as I was speaking to before. I do feel like that is a place for me to receive or to channel something, and I know that others sort of feel similarly who DJ as well. So yeah, man, I feel honoured to be provided with that gift of just sharing music in that way.
Sharing bangers.
Yeah.
And what about the shift into like getting out of the, you know, getting on it, doing drugs, being in that scene? Because obviously it's kind of, they go hand in hand in a lot of ways. I know there's a lot of DJs now that are DJing sober and have come clean, but was there a point where you was like, I'm enjoying the DJing, but I'm not enjoying the scene anymore? Was there a point where you wanted to get out of it a little bit?
Again, man, 2020, there's obviously a massive theme here, right? 2020 was the thing for me because, of course, like the shut clubs and blah, blah, blah. So again, that forced me to really look at that side of my life, you know. And I was already, interestingly, sort of stepping a little bit back from it. Maybe just an age thing, you know, or maybe it was a bit of a higher self coming in, which I didn't know at the time, you know. But again, like, I'm genuinely not just saying this because I'm on the Full Power podcast, but that cacao ceremony, that tiny little 20-minute cacao ceremony was a catalyst in that way as well. Something I did not expect to happen was like, as I was speaking to before, this subtle unraveling also manifested in the form of the session and just the stepping back and the stepping back and the stepping back. And then before I knew it, I was like, yo, it's been like 3 months. And then there was a part of my ego that was like, oh, that means it's time to go get a slam on it, you know? And don't get me wrong, there were times where I'd sort of dip back in. In those early days, I would say, you know, like 2020 and stuff. But yeah, like, I feel like that's a good thing to happen sometimes, you know, to dip back into something that isn't serving you, to remind oneself of...
It's like, I'm not really that into this anymore. It's not serving me, my highest self anymore. It's like, you sometimes have to do the thing to realise that it's not. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly it, yeah.
So obviously then moving into sort of, when was the first time you DJ'd at like a sober event, or how did that appeal to you to DJ at sober events? How did that come up?
I think it was the first Stone Cold Sober Festival.
Okay.
I think that was my first proper sober rave set, from recollection.
Did you not DJ at any of our raves that we put on at Paris's?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So that was, I think that was when I just met you, or even, like, I met you even slightly after that, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, your first Stone Cold Sober Festival, which, you know I say to you quite a lot, but I really am so grateful for that, because that was such a huge, again, catalyst for me and so many others in terms of opportunities and collaboration, what have you. But yeah, that was my first experience.
I think, and also a lot of people just say to me, it's like a vision of what's possible for us to have this beautiful, amazing experience, a connection with other human beings without being drunk. So many people came to that festival that weren't sober, that hadn't danced sober before, and were just like, I was so worried about it. And they were like, it was amazing. Everyone's energy was great. I felt so comfortable. Like, after the first little bit of nervousness, it was just like everyone made me feel safe. No one was judging me. Like, it was like a massive breakthrough for so many people who came to that festival, man.
And that's so true, man. And that's the thing. Like, it actually is a really, really powerful tool. And medicine, again, movement, dancing, you know. So yeah, to be able to be part of that expression, again, like so many others, is just so humbling and such an honour. But you have just reminded me in a way, like, I did dabble a little bit in the raves, I suppose you could say. They're definitely non-sober raves.
Normal raves.
Normal raves, on my sober journey. That was... I mean, it was beautiful, you know. Like, I ended up getting a really different perspective on raving.
So going to normal raves where people are off the red, sober,
Yes,
Right,
that did start to happen for a bit.
Yeah.
So I think that was a little bit before the Stone Cold Sober Festival.
Okay.
And, you know, it was a little bit triggering because it obviously invited me into old patterns and what have you. And I've struggled a lot in life with like FOMO, massive fear of missing out. And, fear of exclusion and what have you. So that brought up a lot for me to go to these raves, knowing that I'm going to DJ. And that was another thing. I used to think that I had to be bang on it to do a good set. And
right,
again,
okay.
pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Right.
And again, I know that this is an experience of many others as well, like in terms of anyone who's been on the sober path. So I'm not speaking from a place of, oh, it's only me kind of thing. But it did, you know, happen for me, that situation.
How was it then?
Do you know what? Because I was hyper present, as opposed to, of course, when you're off your rocker, you're present in a way, but you're totally in a different dimension. And I was really hyper present to everyone's like reactions to the tunes and like my own response as well, like being hyper present with the nerves and the. I did find it quite easy to get in the mind, to be honest with you, at first, because of course our mind likes to rationalize and put logic to things, you know. So I was like, I did get into the head a few times where I was just thinking too much about, well, I need to make sure this set is like X, Y, Z, blah, 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 which isn't a bad thing to be intentional with something, I suppose.
But does that prevent you from like reading the energy of the room as well? Is that like a...
Totally happened, man. Yeah, that totally happened, but again, like Cacao was such a powerful tool for me to work with for those situations, which again took some feeling into.
So you was getting banged on the Cacao to go out to these normal raves?
I totally was,
bang on the Cacao.
I totally was, and I would usually have a ceremonial dose, you know, like 40 to 50 grams, and like you've sort of taught me, no matter what, you know, use your intention. What is your actual intention? So I'd make sure to sit with the medicine before and to not just use it as an energizer. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I wanted to really just, you know, honor the sacredness still, even though I was going to like a very sort of modern, event. Again, that's the beauty of Lady Cacao. Like she can elevate wherever she is, with you, in you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
beautiful. And then so the like DJing at the Sober Rave for the first time, like how was that? Because I remember when you dropped that set at the Stone Cold Sober Festival, and there was like little kids raving. There was people my age raving, and there was like grandmas raving, and it was just like looking around going, this is fucking awesome.
Oh man, that was such a sight, all of those examples you use of like all the different types of people and the ages and what have you, like for me, like you were speaking to, the fact that children were there, which I didn't realize at the time, but that was a huge activation for me. Like I felt really activated from that experience, just being able to share that with children as well as adults, of course. One thing I did not expect was how hard everyone goes in when they're sober, like with the dancing. Like everyone was going absolutely off it, and I felt such a reciprocal energy flow. Again, sort of like what you were alluding to before, between me and everyone who was raving. So like you were saying before, bliss was a word that came through for me massively, and like such deep gratitude. It felt like such a joy and a medicine, and a deep healing experience, not only for me but for like other people. I imagine. It was. And was it? And I certainly felt like a healing experience just receiving other people's authenticity, you know, when it came to the dancing. So just be. And like in terms of the bangers, the drum and bass bangers, as you put it, like being able to put on some proper filthy tunes, as well as some nice melodic, like floaty tunes, was just absolutely epic, because I kind of relate it to like the light and the dark, you know. and the shadow that we all have, of course. And it's like, am I going to just reject all of these dark, dirty tunes? Or am I going to express them and, you know, accept them and celebrate them? And everyone was buzzing off them, so...
Yeah, man.
I just found that a beautiful reflection, you know.
Yeah. So was that the spark of Ignite? How did Ignite, basically?
Good pun. That's a really good pun.
Thank you. I've been practicing that one all week.
It's pretty full power, that, yeah. How did Ignite? So, again, that was a loud sniff.
So what is Ignite first? What is it?
Okay, Ignite is a sober rave event company that I co-run with a beautiful, beautiful soul, Brad Collins. Yeah. And we've been on this journey together since like last April it was, so April 23. Yeah. And there's a few of us that sort of collaborate. There's Amelia, and Paul and Kaylee and Megan and a few others and what have you, which again I've all met really through you. Or Paul, but I've met Paul through you, so ultimately, you know, really grateful for that. So I do reflect on that quite a lot. But to actually answer your question,
how did Ignite?
So that's been a dream of mine, or to put on a night anyway, an event, dance event of some kind, for years. Like I feel like it's been a subtle feeling for me, maybe ever since I started DJing, but I didn't quite know it. You see what I mean? So. It's the whole idea of just bringing people together for connection, ultimate connection. But yeah, Ignite was ignited. To be fair, the Stone Cold Sober festivals were a massive inspiration for me, and not from a place of like imitation. Of course, imitation's a form of flattery, right? But, it certainly wasn't coming from a place of that. That was sort of like a confirmation in a way, because as I say, it was like I already had that energy there. So I was really fortunate to be able to utilise some of that energy from the festival because, as you know, because you put it on, that festival was such a community of cultivating so much energy, which we could all obviously do what we want with. As you know, energy is not created or destroyed, it's just transferred and what have you, transformed. So, yeah, man, that was a really big ammunition, I suppose you could say. And then I met Brad. It was at a men's group. And then, like, before we knew it, it was like probably within the first couple of conversations, we both realised the synergy that we had. Like, we both DJ'd, we're both Tauruses, like our birthday's like a day apart. Right. So we're both quite grounded in some ways. We both really love good food and what have you. And we both absolutely loved raving. We both were at the point of, like, not really being in that space of just wanting to get off our rocker anymore, to be honest with you. So it was kind of like a merging of our sort of enthusiasm for it. And then again, before we knew it, and huge testament to Brad, because he was really inspiring for me to get us going initially. And then, man, like we just ended up flowing with it, ended up in a little healing house near me, big up Guy Goodness. I think that was
the first one.
That was the first one. There was about 10 of us, I think, maybe a dozen max. And I mean, it was a tiny box room, like it was like a spare bedroom vibe. And like that was just like the initiation for us, I suppose. And the confirmation to really just start to flow with it. And
so what happens, like, if I turn up to an Ignite event now, what does it consist of?
So yes, this sort of ties into our values, our shared values, which I sort of alluded to. So, like, as I mentioned, we both loved raving, although I'm very, very passionate, and so was Brad actually, about holistic health, you know, not just like the physical or the mental, all the layers of health, I suppose you could say. So we really wanted to infuse that. We didn't know how it was going to happen, by the way. We just knew that we wanted to do it.
That's kind of the mission.
The mission, Exactly, so yes, it's developed over time, although like the initial mission, like you say, was to centre it around really, really good dance music, like underground vibes, you know. And we're not here preaching that we're the only sober rave company or collective or what have you. There's absolutely loads, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Like you were speaking to about Cacao, you know, on different podcasts and what have you, that it's beautiful that, you know, Full Power's growing so much because it really does help others to grow.
Yeah.
Mic shake. So I kind of feel like that's similar in terms of the sober raves. Like there's enough to go around, kind of thing. So yeah, we were inspired heavily by a lot of other sober rave collectives and what have you. But yeah, we were really passionate about focusing a lot on, like I say, the underground dance music, because we feel like there was a sort of space for that. And particularly the drums and the bass, of course, and like Brad's an awesome like multi-genre DJ, so like psytrance, techno, which I'd never really listened to before, by the way. So like I had to surrender quite a lot there, like, because I'm a massive drum and bass head, which might be quite obvious at this point. And I'm not like discriminatory against other genres. Like I liked a bit of UK garage and a few other like dance music genres. I love loads of other music, by the way, but specifically on dance music. Like, that just like really opened my eyes to other ways of just connecting with the divine through music.
Yeah, man. And so at the rave, is it just music, or is there meditation, breath work, or do you just infuse different things each time? Does it just depend, or is it like a set kind of things people would expect to come into an Ignite Sober Rave? Yeah,
good question. So we do have our sort of foundational elements, I'm going to say. And I say that also because we are quite open to adapting and like transforming, you know, and not stagnating. Although we're definitely, going back to the holistic health thing, we're super, super passionate about, like you were speaking to, the meditation and the breath work. We do open with a full power cacao ceremony as well, which, as you know, is just such a profound way to open up, just to blast people's hearts open and just to help to dissolve.
Connect them into each other quicker.
That's it,
as a collective, because you're in a collective space as a unique energy signature for that evening. So the quicker that everyone can relax into that and open up, the better for the event and the better for the individuals to connect, make connections, start creating relationships with other people that are on a similar path, that are into similar things, which is why like when anyone says, when should I have the cacao? At the fucking beginning. Straight away.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you're actually, you've done the full power cacao facilitator training, and you obviously use that within your events now. So why was the full power cacao facilitator training calling you? And what have you then now gained from that? How was the training? What did you find difficult? And then what have you gained from it? So 3 questions really.
Beautiful questions, which I may have to come back to you on at times.
Let's do the first one then. Yeah. Why did you do the full power cacao facilitator training?
Few layers to this, as there is with everything, I suppose. Although part of it was definitely the indicator to me that it was time, if you will, because it landed just after my 30th birthday, or my Saturn return, I suppose you could refer to it as, which I didn't really know much about at the time.
For anyone who doesn't know, that is the first time Saturn is in the same place as when you were born. It takes 30 years to be in the same place. Hi guys, my book Dealer to Healer is available on our website, www.fullpowercacao.com. You can also get it on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, wherever you read and do your thing. It is an amazing tale of my life and my journey towards a better version of myself. All the twists and turns, all the traumas, all the funny stories, everything that's happened. It's my life story. It's supporting and inspiring lots of people. So head over to the website, head over to Amazon, get the book, let us know what you think. Big love.
Aho to that.
Full power.
I really would recommend, though, if whoever's listening or watching, you're not very familiar with astrology, it's worth diving into. I
thought you was going to say, if you're not too familiar with Saturn, go and take a trip there. It's a really nice place. The rings are beautiful. You can just surf around them.
Give it 12 years, I reckon, maybe. But yeah, man, that was a thing for me. Yeah. It just felt perfectly timed, and you will know that like I've thought about it for ages, / procrastinated on it perhaps in some ways, for like the last year, but prior to that, and to actually answer your question regarding like why did I go, you know, there was that deep connection that I felt with Cacao anyway, and as you will have gathered, that experience, that first experience I had with her, and you, like that was, it's still, I can still feel that activation within me now, so that was a massive inspiration for me. Also, I feel very passionate about supporting others with regards to like empowerment, and also like self-awareness, like just at its super basic core, like the ability to understand yourself, even just a little bit, like that to me is one of the biggest revolutions that you can actually achieve in life, because the more that you understand yourself, the less that you're going to rely on these external systems and education
distractions as well.
Distractions, man. That's such a powerful word to use. So that was a big driver for me. Was there anything else? I mean, it literally just felt right. I'd just experienced a breakup like earlier that year as well, actually. So again, that space was created.
And how was the training?
How was the training? Man, like, I know I say this to you quite a lot, in terms of how much it's still unraveling for me. And I say that because I went in there feeling like massively triggered, because I'd never really, I thought I'd never really held a space before or supported people in a, you know, an internal journey or what have you. So that was triggering, although, what I did feel was that, you know, what I'm going to get out of this is I'm going to be able to do cacao ceremonies, and I don't think, I'd not even considered if it was going to impact any other area in my life. I just thought, I'm going to be able to share this beautiful modality with people, which is beautiful in itself. Although what I found was that the training was like so exposing. And what I mean by exposing was you and Paulina facilitated such an intentional journey, in the sense of, yes, you did put us in uncomfortable situations in terms of the workshops and the way that we had to share with each other, and bearing in mind, like, none of us had ever met each other before. Anyone who had been, I mean, there was a chance we'd have met each other because of the circuit and what have you, although man, like, I didn't know anyone, and that might have been the same for others. So there was that, which was it's a very powerful thing to do that, especially in such an intimate situation. So that was why it was triggering, and also very, very healing. And I found the way in which that you sort of had like a self-development lens on it, a holistic lens on it, like I was speaking to, not just the ceremonies. It's like, well, who do you actually want to be? It's kind of like the theme that you were going with, I feel. And why are you in your own way? And what is getting in your own way? What are you doing that is getting in your own way? So that still stays with me now. And I still ask myself, like, why am I getting in my own way? And that is thanks to the training. So that's why I sort of speak to how it's been so expansive, not just in facilitating the ceremonies, it's just like life.
I think that's our main mission is like, great if you go and hold cacao facilitator trainings, but the most important thing for us is that people leave as better human beings and feel more evolved on their path. They might fucking hate us for a few weeks afterwards, but then they eventually go, okay, I understand. And you know, for a lot of teachers won't go there because they're scared of people hating them for a little bit, and we're not, because we're just going to do the work. And if that means stretching an individual and they have a little bit of a hissy fit for a period of time, then that's cool. That's not my problem. Do you know what I mean? The bigger mission is, are you going to turn up for yourself? Are you going to be a better human being? And if you do hold a cacao ceremony, are you in a place where you can hold a safe space? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Which is a strength, which, you know, a lot of people leave trainings. It's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully we give people basic tools to start figuring that out as they're going on their own and, you know, developing their own ceremony, however that may look. Because obviously our biggest thing that we drill into everyone is like, what's your USP? Because I don't want you to hold a Liam Browne cacao ceremony, because why would you want to do that? Yeah? Or hold the James Baylis cacao ceremony, or, you know, Sandra Robbins cacao ceremony training. Do you know what I mean? Ceremony, like, what's your best? What are you bringing? What are the elements that you've got? You've got gifts that I've not got. Do you know what I mean? You can do music and DJ and all the things that you can do, the food that you can influence into your thing. And it's like, what's your individual? What's your unique, you know, counselors or people who just want to sit one-to-one, someone who wants to do a massive stadium cacao, whatever. But let's get your USP out. And that's, sometimes you've got to dig a little bit deep and upset a few and ruffle a few feathers to get that out of people, which is what's beautiful, and which is what, you know, when you say things like that, it's really beautiful to hear it. So yeah, so then yeah, do you know, no, so after that then, like, what did you feel were the benefits, and how has that then influenced into what you're doing now?
So I've spoken to the benefits in a way, in terms of the way in which it's just broadened my awareness across every sort of area of my life, not just the ceremony. So one thing that I've really appreciated in your training is that you did provide all of us actually with a specific stretch, as you put it.
Yeah.
A stretch being like the one thing that you and Paulina observed through the time, that is the one thing that will, well, once we unblock it or work on that area, that's where the expansion will come.
Yeah.
So that in itself, and the stretch that you gave me was time management, I think it was, generally.
Yeah.
Which again is still very much at the forefront of me, which is definitely an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's almost like the vibrations are still there. And I know I keep speaking to this, but that alone is something that will just continue, like to marinate within me, you know.
Man.
Other than that, what I would say is the ability to sit with uncomfortability more. Like, that was one of your key themes as well in the training, was get uncomfortable, man, which is, I know you were speaking to that before, which, yes, it is triggering. Yes, it fucking is.
And it's fucking icky and it hurts. It's not nice, but...
Yeah, for sure. And it's sticky.
The other side of it's good.
Yeah, for sure. It's real good, man. I think my voice finally broke then.
Yeah, very wide. Hey. Full power.
The rest of the podcast is very wide.
We're going to do the whole rest of the podcast like this, James. How are you? Welcome. Sit down. Take a seat, bro. No, let's go back to normal.
Yeah.
Where's it going now then? What are you doing with it? Like, and what are you working towards now with? Obviously, just chat a little bit about the food.
Yeah.
And then where you going with that? But what does the future hold for James Baylis, Ignite, Invigorate? Talk about Invigorate as well. What's Invigorate?
Yeah, so bringing Invigorate into it briefly. So, of course, as many people will know, the very definition of Invigorate is to give energy to. That's the definition of it. Which, of course, I relate that to full power as well. Like, it's like, how can you support with someone's full power? Like, that's... something I didn't expect, but there was a synergy there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, Invigorate is a vegan catering business that I set up in, I think it was like 2021. Again, that beautiful blessing that was that time where I sat with myself. And it was like birthed through, well, definitely a passion for food, which started when I was like, maybe like 17. I went to catering college, learned how to skin a chicken, debone a fish, which obviously works out well for me now.
Brilliant for any vegan catering business. Go and skin a chicken.
Can skin a blueberry pretty well.
Skin a blueberry, is that
yeah. If you've ever deboned a banana before, you'll know how powerful it is to know how to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that passion for food that was there, and I knew that when I was going to get back into food, because I did come out of catering for a few years, I knew when I was going to get back into it, it'd be my own thing.
So was you fasting between the time you come in and out of Was it a long fast?
5 years.
5 year fast? You're looking well for it, bro.
Cheers, man. I don't feel it. In fact, yeah, I do feel like a 12th dimensional light being.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, you can tap into that whenever you want.
True.
So so then obviously the food pops back in. You start this vegan catering business.
Yes. So like I was already on the vegan path, I suppose you could say. Actually, it started from a health perspective. Like I started to feel just lighter, more nourished. Like when I just started sort of intuitively eating less meat and what have you, like maybe like 6 years ago. Yeah. But yeah, of course, like fast forward a few years when I was sort of like fully fledged, if you will, plant-based or vegan, if you will. Obviously, there was all that health stuff going on in the 2020s. And that was a massive driver for me in terms of like the passion for holistic health, as I was speaking to. Yeah. And I saw such a huge contradiction almost, in like the vegan space, I'm going to call it, like with this massive surge of like fake meat, fake eggs, all of that stuff. Like, and I was like, it honestly felt like a Black Mirror episode, man, but a really long one.
I think it's a Black Mirror episode when you go to a hospital, like, which is supposed to be an establishment of health, is it not? However, when you see the food that they serve the patients, you're like, what the fuck, man? You've got someone in here trying to make him healthy and you're feeding them absolute dog shit. Totally. Every fucker in there should be having a smoothie, drink this, if you've got them for a few days, make them eat good shit.
It's
the basis of health. Yeah. It's like you might as well just fucking put silage in your car and expect it to run.
What silage?
Is cow shit.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, cow shit. Cow shit runoff. It's lovely. It smells great. when you get that fragrance when you're in the countryside.
Oh, it's that one.
This is silage. Very tasty.
I totally hear you though, man. You're absolutely bang on. Like even just zooming out from the veganism for a bit, it's like you're speaking to, that hospitals is a prime example. Like, look at the vending machines, man. Go get a bag of Skittles to go with like whatever treatment you're getting. No.
Let's alkalize the body. That's what we need to do. Cancer cannot exist in an alkalized body. Is that right? Alkalized.
I'm not that educated on it, but I've heard.
Alka-Seltzer. Helter-Skelter. If you get on a Helter-Skelter, your cancer will be cured. Is that right?
I can't confirm nor deny that.
You can't say that for sure, but maybe try it. My mum died of cancer, so it's fine. I can say shit like that. Okay. I have a caveat. I've got like a free pass for cancer jokes. Frankie Boyle's going to be all over me.
Wow, what a segue.
So food, Invigorate, where's it going?
Yeah, so where is it actually going? So, to be honest with you, I'm still figuring it out. Yeah. But what I do know is that, like, I'm really grateful to be part of a wider mission of, I know there's quite a few pockets of similar companies and initiatives around whole food focus, plant-based. Like, I'm not even here to preach to anyone to be a certain way of eating or to eat a certain way, Like, I do recognise that we all have our own systems. There's nuances, in my humble opinion, everywhere, So I'm just here to continue and grow the mission of Invigorate, which is to encourage and inspire a more healthy way of living. Eating is like the centre of it.
More vitality, more energy.
All of that. And also to really connect more with the land, like your local land. Like even the other day, for some reason, I've never really picked up some nettles and gone to work with them.
Okay.
And they're all around us all the time. Even the other day, just holding my hands up. I did it for the first time. And it's like, this is just a prime example of how disconnected we are, you know. Man. So that's another part of it. It's to encourage more connection with the land and to just come back to the simplicity of nature and how it really does provide us with everything we need.
All the medicine, all the food, you know, like the Hedgerow Forager, like, that's a great book. It's like, I don't know anything, like, but apparently there's loads of food in all our hedgerows throughout the countryside, you know what I mean? It's like tons of edible stuff, tons of edibles. It's like incredible. So
that's epic.
Yeah, man. So you've like, obviously you've just come off the back of doing 2 full power, doing Invigorate Catering for 2 full power Cacao Facilitator trainings, which you just made. You know, we had 24 people in each one of them. Nick, the videographer as well, was there. And like, you just made everybody just joyful about the food. There was people worried about coming and being vegan because they weren't all vegan. And they were just like, oh my God, if I could give my husband this, like, he'd probably want to be vegan because I want to be vegan right now. And this has just made me realize that it's possible for it to be tasty, nutritional, having 2 meals a day and realizing that can get me through the day. So how did that feel for you?
I'm still processing it, to be honest, man. Which probably,
he does a lot of processing.
I do a lot of processing, people, a lot of processing. There's an online course coming soon for processing for 2 years on making food for people. Like you were sort of speaking to, it was such a deep honour to be able to nourish people in that way whilst they were going through such a transformative process, which obviously I know about. So that kind of assisted me in a way to be able to sort of formulate the food accordingly, I suppose. So yeah, it felt super, super aligned, and I did have to have quite a lot of cacao to sort of power me through, you know, at times. Like,
it was on tap though, bro.
yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, buzzing about that. But yeah, like that was, it sort of confirmed to me that like that it's definitely at least part of my expression in this life.
Yeah,
you know, so yeah, like it's obviously very aligned that you were very adamant on having really, really nourishing, healthy food as well to assist one in any process, to be honest, any transformative process.
Yeah, man. People need it, yeah.
Yeah, for
you need
sure,
that energy.
man.
Deep inner work, like you need, and especially working with cacao, you need that nourishment afterwards back into the body.
For sure, man.
Because people are letting go of a lot of stuff in those, you know, like, you know, you said to me like a couple of times people had come out and we weren't privy to it, but you said the heads had fallen off. And like, then they've come back and realised, you know, and they've had a little breakthrough and they come back and they're all good. So it's like, I was just like, brilliant. Like, the more people's heads are falling off, the more we're doing a good job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and the heads slowly came back on when they were eating, which is a positive as well. They do need their heads to eat. So
they do need the heads, yeah.
That was good.
We don't decapitate people on our training yet. We do think about it. We've not decapitated anybody as of yet, fully severed.
Epic. Well, I don't know if it is epic, but nevertheless, yeah, man. So, kind of tying into your previous question around the mission and stuff, that was a really beautiful experience in terms of just, like you were saying, giving people who don't usually eat that kind of food like an opportunity to eat something. Like, that is definitely a part of our mission with Invigorate, is to just provide a bit of a positive nudge into an alternative way of eating, which doesn't have to compromise your joy when you're eating.
Yeah, man.
That's such a misconception still. Like, you don't have to compromise enjoyment just because you're eating some broccoli sprouts or, you know, something like that. I could have thought of a better example.
Broccoli, mate, tender stem broccoli with a little bit of soy sauce, some salt, cooked in a bit of onion, banging, man.
I'm talking, man.
Or salt and pepper tender stem broccoli, or cauliflower buffalo wings, all over that shit, man.
We're rolling.
All over that shit.
Any cacao in there?
Not in me buffalo wings, no. I'll have a cacao. I'll have chili, cacao in me chili.
Yeah.
Not in me fucking buffalo
Cacao
wings,
and
mate. I'm
chili,
not going to spoil me buffalo wings. So, obviously, we've just had Jessica Cunningham in here. You was privy to her conversation. So if we were to bring all the belief codes in to break everything that's kind of maybe these blocks or whatever, but imagine you could just, where are you going to take this to? Where are you going with Invigorate, with Ignite, with you as a human being? Like, where do you see it going? Where do you want it to go? If you had, like, nothing holding you back.
I'm just receiving.
Don't think small.
there's definitely still something I'm figuring out, you know, Liam Browne. I don't know why I just called you by your full name.
Can you call me Liam Christopher Browne, please? It's Christopher.
Liam Christopher.
Thank you.
Browne.
Thank you.
What I do know is that I feel like part of my dharma or purpose is to bring people together and to at least help with building community. Mm-hmm. And also pairing that with like true holistic health. Mm-hmm. To supporting people's thrivingness, not just being able to survive, it's being able to thrive. So I see so much synergy with the cacao ceremonies and the boot camps and the food and the sober raves, and to sort of merge that together and to be able to offer out so many different healing and transformative and joyful and fun and playful experiences for people that will almost be a bit of a bridge for people perhaps who are sort of dipping in and out of you know, the space of I don't know, spirituality or consciousness or higher consciousness, let's say, self-awareness.
It's a nice bridge what you offer, like, for people who are taking the first steps out of the matrix. Do you know what I'm saying?
For sure, man. And I still feel like I'm sort of doing that myself in a way. Like I do feel like I catch myself sometimes, so I feel like that sort of gives me like the compassion to be able to see it with others and to, you know, to support in any way. And I know there's loads of others doing that, but I certainly see Invigorate being like an initiative, a project which really does just help to guide people away from fake food. That's a massive mission of Invigorate.
High vibrational food,
man. Yeah, for sure. With a community aspect in terms of, I really love the idea of bringing lots of different beautiful sort of vegan chefs together to just really amplify each other's energy and to just like supercharge what we all are passionate about. So there's that, and then the Ignite Sober Rave, there's the we just really, as in Brad and I and Amelia and the rest of the guys, like we just really see it going like, I'm smiling because we don't really know where it's going, but we just really want to be
global,
yes,
global,
universal,
yes,
European at least,
global,
okay. Yeah, man, let's go for it. We'd love to be a global go-to for a sober experience like no other, is what we love.
Ignite that shit globally, man.
Yeah,
that's what I want to finish on, just ignite globally. What ignited the ignite all over the world. Do you know what I'm saying? Right, we're gonna have to wrap it up there, but brother, like, it's been amazing. Thank you for all the energy that you share with everything. Obviously, you're a massive part of the Full Power tribe and all the ripples that you know that creates, all the community that you're part of, everything that we kind of co-collaborate on every time you come and bring your energy to whatever event. If you're cooking for us, if you're dropping the tunes for us, like, it's always an honor and it's always a blessing. It's always really beautiful to have your energy there to uplift the people that you're around, which is one of your key attributes and skills as a human being. That's one of your USPs, is just to be able to lift everybody around you and bring that high vibrational energy. So we love you, bro.
Oh, huge love for that, man. Thank you.
Good?
All good.
Peace. Full power. Oh, everyone's doing it this way now.
Should have been inviting it.
That was James Baylis, ladies and gentlemen. Invigorate, Ignite, go and check them out. Oh yeah, if anyone wants to get hold of you, like, what socials did he hit you up on?
How long have you got, guys? No, you can find me on my personal, which is
just at the moment I'm processing.
Find me on my personal at, James Baylis, and then we've got Invigorate Catering, we've got Baylis Boot Camps, we've got Ignite _sober _rave, and I think that is actually it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
Yeah.
Go and check them out, give them a follow, and if you're in the Leeds area, go and check out their events, mate, because they're amazing.
Yeah.
Leeds. I
mean, they are next level, and we're going to grow, and we're going to just continue bringing people together in such a loving, harmonious, integral way, which is something I didn't mention before, but I'm saying it now. That is something that is very, very core and key to us, is the authenticity, integrity, and yeah, just love, man. I know it's spiritual woo-woo, but it's true. Like, staying integral is
heart-centered chisel,
heart-centered
integrity,
chisel,
and any of their events, you'll always be able to pick up a cup of full power cacao as well.
Indeed, yes. Nice plug.
Aho.
Aho.